Welcome everyone to the 2024 annual general meeting for the South African Cystic Fibrosis Association. I want to say welcome and thank you for taking the time out of your evenings to join us. I must admit, I'm not sure I like Zoom meetings anymore. You don't get that personal connection as in-person do, but with a national organization now, it is easier to connect to everyone from all corners of South Africa and further with Zoom. Okay, so for tonight's agenda, obviously the welcome, we've got chairman's reports. Heike will be working or talking through the finances, and Dr. Zampoli is introducing our strategy for the state patients to gain access to Trikafta or the modulator therapy meds. Rita, our patient empowerment manager, is also going to be talking. And we have Anna Marie, a new member of our committee, and she's a parent of two cystics, and as well as become a clinic parent and has been a force for Steve Biko. She's part of the Steve Biko clinic and has really helped us gain contact back with the clinic. And then we're moving on to elections of the management committee and then questions and comments. Okay. Just a reminder, we're going to be putting mics on mute. If you do need to speak, you can either raise your hand or you can pop a message in the chat. I do have my husband, Matthew, is monitoring the chats for any questions that do come through during the presentations. The meeting is being recorded, and then a summary of this meeting will be emailed through to everyone that has attended and registered in due course. Okay. This year has been quite a year, and I'm sure everyone's now feeling it, that it is getting quite tired. We have done quite a bit on the CF South Africa side for the association. We recently hosted a strategy session for Sacfa, which was facilitated by Rare Disease South Africa. And this was a step towards creating more structure within Sacfa. As a national organization, there are many smaller parts that need to work better together and become more streamlined. And that was a first step in doing this. Our objectives, which are mentioned on our website, we have realized that objectives don't have to be as intense as step 1, 2, and 3. It's an overall objective, and the smaller objectives and steps are being worked through. And as I keep saying a lot to the committee members, is nothing is set in stone. It can be worked through, it can be changed, it can be molded. Nothing is going to stay exactly the same forever, and that is something I like to remember. Next slide, please. Excuse me. For this year's achievements, we have established quite a few partnerships as well as collaborations with different patient organizations, as well as industry associations. Rare Disease South Africa, we have been a member with them now for, when did they start? From the start, I think it has been. And it has just grown our connections, and what they're working towards is similar to us, but they've got a broader view as in all rare diseases, not just CF, which is why we support them. They do a lot more advocating on policy changes globally as well, because they're connected to the International Rare Disease Association. We've recently joined the World Patient Alliance, and that's more focused on the patients and bettering the patient's journey in the medical sector. We've recently also connected with the Innovative Pharmaceutical Association of South Africa and working on business ethics and collaborating with the pharmaceutical industry in a business ethical way to gain insight from both the pharmaceutical side for patient and patient for pharmaceutical understanding. So that connection. We've connected with Breathtaking Fundraising, and they have supported us with our patient welcome packs. And we thank them for that. We have aided patients in numerous ways, providing access to medication, guidance on management of CF. As we know, it's there's a lot to it as you start out, and definitely as you age through. And for parents, there's financial support, and this is for medical equipment. We do assist certain patients with funding to get to hospital. There have been patients that cannot afford to get to hospital for a checkup, and we have assisted them with that. We also fund the CF registry, and the 2023 completed data report for the registry will be released in 2025. And it does sound a bit odd saying 2023 data, but this is because the 2024 data, we're still in 2024. So we're looking at the completed data from last year. We've also hosted numerous fundraisers this year. We've got the CF Genes Day that we hosted on the 31st of May. And this we had to change because of the voting that happened this year. So we did move it. It worked out well with being on a Friday this year. We've also held the virtual 6.5 event, which ran for the month of September. And then at the end of the year, we had our golf day, which was run by the Travis family. And that was on the 12th of November. These fundraisers support various areas. We assist CF warriors in different ways, as mentioned previously. For Charlotte Makeke Johannesburg Hospital, we pay for a social worker and a dietitian. So this makes that visit, department, and clinic a multidisciplinary team. And what we mean by that, it has your prescribing doctor, your CF practitioner doctor. It's got a dietitian. It has a social worker, a physio. So you've got these 4 different groups working at one clinic that a patient can then see throughout. We also fund the CF registry. We now have a patient empowerment team and focus group. We have the welcome packs, which we also fund for new patients and parents. And then state clinic support, which is food parcels, vitamins, and is distributed amongst different state clinics. We would like to thank each and every one of you for your support, your donations, the assist even with connecting with other patients. It all links up to helping the CF community and helping Sacfa grow a picture of, or some of the pictures from our 6.5 event, some from the golf day. There's the photo of the Travis family, and they have supported us for many, many years. And they're even part of the CF Association way back, before it was a NPO. So when we have new patients that join us, we have started introducing these new patients. Obviously, according to the agreement from the parents, if they agree to share photos. And these are just some of the patients with their welcome packs and the items that are included. And I think it's a great way to include the community. Sorry, I do mute myself when I cough. Sorry, it's a thing. Sorry. Okay, so for future plans, our main item is always for access to care and support needed to thrive, for every patient to thrive. That's all we want. I know for parents, that's all you want for your children, is to see them soar. And as patients, you don't want to be stuck in hospital. You want to go out and do things. Our focus then goes on to achieve this is expanding our patient support programs, advocating for equitable access to medication. And what I mean by that is access for all. So our state patients, that is now our next target, is the state patients' access to the modulator therapy. With this, we need to be creating more public awareness of CF and the improvements that can be seen with these new medications. From our strategy meeting, we came up with three main strategic goals. First one was access to multidisciplinary team for all clinics. This involves us assessing what is a multidisciplinary team and how many clinics have this. And then how do we, if a clinic doesn't have this, how do we get this for that clinic? Our next one was diagnosis. The earlier diagnosis, the better chance for survival. And this is the next step. This involves a lot more with our MSAC team from the doctor's side. And then our third goal is medicine access, which starts off also with our consensus document. This is vital information that we can use for our medical practitioners, for our government hospitals to let them be aware of what is needed for a CF patient. And then our call to action for funders from government and private to adapt these protocols. Next year, we have a few fundraisers, just a few. Currently, we still have CF t-shirts. If you would like to order, we will put a link on our social media. Obviously, May is a busy month for CF. We have our CF Awareness Month with our Genes Day happening on the 28th of May. We have decided to do the 6.5 event in May as well, to coincide with Genes Day and CF Awareness Month. We have found there is more interaction when it is during the CF month. And this is what we want to do. We want to push for the reason why, that 6.5 is not a full 5 or a 10, but it's at 65 roses. We've also got a team for the Cape Town cycle tour, which is happening in March. So far, we have 11, 11 or 12 cyclists. If you are wanting to cycle for us and would like to travel to Cape Town or are based in Cape Town, we would love to have you. You can email us or WhatsApp, phone, me or Alan, and we can register you with our team. And then at the end of the year, we have our golf day. And these are the main fundraisers that are in our calendar as of today. We may have more appearing later on, but these are the ones that have been put in the calendar as such. We need volunteers. We need members on the committee to help us drive the dream for all CFs to have access to advanced care, not just modulators, but patients also receiving their state level care and increase that level of care, as well as medical aid patients having to fund out of pocket. How do we help that? So it's not one issue. There are so many little issues as well. And the more on the team, the better. A major role that needs help is a secretary. We do not have one, and I'm having to juggle. So if you're good at juggling and are okay with bossing people around, I would really, I'd appreciate some help. We then, for fundraising, volunteers, even if it's just for the fundraiser for the day, that is great. If you would also like to run your own fundraiser for Sacfa, that can also be done, and we are happy to help in any way. Something else we have noticed with a national organization and establishing a business mindset and guidance on that, we would love to hear your input on that. If you have an idea, please email, WhatsApp, phone. We've also introduced a new system, a watchdog duty. And this is because on our WhatsApp groups that we have, we saw an influx of scammers and trolls. And this became a big problem. And to solve this, we developed the watchdog duty system. They review and validate those who want to join these groups. We then have a process that has been implemented and questions that we ask. And then questions we ask to make sure that they are not scammers, trolls, or someone that should not be on those groups. This is led by a lovely volunteer, Leila Poonen, and I really appreciate it, Leila. Thank you so much. And we do need assistance with this. As the groups grow, so does the amount of people trying to get on that shouldn't be on that group. And we need to help protect our data, our patients, our parents, and each other. And this is our way of doing that, implementing this system. If you have a day that you are able to monitor one of the WhatsApp groups or all three, and just keep an eye out if you see a new member, we would love to assist. And we have a system that has been put in place, the questions we ask, as well as if it is a new patient, the procedures. We now have also created clinic guardians and Anna-Marie will discuss this later on. Next. As you can see, we have actual duties and methods to our watchdog duty. It's not just go out and do this. We actually have a process set in place. And we have roles, and we're trying to keep it as uniform as possible and on point, as well as keeping to the SADC and rare diseases WhatsApp rules in regards to group messaging, support groups as such. And these are the people we are fighting for. It is every CF. This is who we are trying to make a better world for. And thank you to all our cystics and the parents who supplied images. And it is a reminder to each of us, there is a whole community out there, and we all want to support each other. And if you feel like you can do one thing, and it's a day that you can say, okay, I can sit in between doing the washing on a Monday, let us know, and maybe we can help each other. And you can help us with watchdog duty and protect our patients and parents. Or if it's you have a great fundraising idea, let us know. Let us work together. And the aim, it's for the community. It's for each other. And let's aim for that. I would like to introduce Heike, a CF mom, to discuss the finances and the rands and cents. I think I'll have to unmute Heike, thank you.
Okay. Thanks. Good evening, everyone, and thanks again for joining us tonight. Oh, there goes my phone. Sorry. I would like to go through the audited financials for the financial year ending in March 2024. Firstly, we can look at our profit and loss statement. Kim has spoken about all the fundraisers that have been done in this last year, and you can see them all here. The other income involved is the interest received and my school. Thanks everyone for swiping your cards. I think every little bit helps in this regard. Can we go to the next slide? Sorry. Oh, there's the whole slide. Sorry, I don't know if you can see it now as well as before. Anyway, so the income there was 203,343. Looking at the expenses, these are just expenses which are day to day. But the large one this year was for the New Frontiers Fund. And that was the legal costs that we helped with for the Vertex case. This is highlighted in orange as the income received in this year and last year. You'll see it also highlighted in orange, and those were that was the income that was actually funding that. So the bottom line we came in there was a loss of 165,000. But because we did take the funds from the previous year as well, I think those 2 years actually balance each other out. If you have any questions on this, please feel free to ask, or you can send me an email. Can we go through to the balance sheet? Okay, so In this last financial year, we incorporated the net bank accounts, which you see highlighted there. And this was due to the merger of Central Region and Sacfa. And these funds were actually appropriated into the registry and the Sacfa reserve funds. So if we can just see the whole page there, you'll see them at the bottom here under shareholders' equity. So these funds will be used just for, that's not highlighted properly. So the registry fund and the Sacfa reserve fund make up the amounts on the net bank accounts that have been incorporated into this balance sheet, which makes the bottom line look extremely good for now. The other accounts that we have here are our First National Bank, the current account and the money market account, petty cash. Yeah, so total liabilities and equity is 160 or 1.6777 and 1. Sorry, that sounded a bit like Zuma there. So. Anyway, if there are any questions, I'm available to ask.
And now I'd like to introduce Dr. Zampoli. And we've listed some important points, I think. A professor at the pediatric hospital at Red Cross in UCT campus. He also runs the CF registry, as well as a chair of NSAC and the CF New Frontiers committee. Marco?
Thank you very much, Kim. And hello everyone. Can I just check? Can you hear me? All right.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but first of all, I'd like to just congratulate Kim and the team who have done a fantastic job, I think, in such a short time. And I think it's given a new sort of breath to Sacfa, and it put a lot of, and the energy, enthusiasm is fantastic. And thank you very much. And I encourage everyone to support them wherever you can. It's really helpful for us to do our job when we have a very active and enthusiastic community by our side. And I think what I wanted to just use the opportunity is just to share with everyone where we are now in terms specifically with access to modulators in the country. As you know, we were all part of an enormous effort and lobbying and campaigning to get Trikafta into the country. And I think we're, for those who are on medical aid, I think it's been life-changing. It's been incredible. There are now, I think, about 170, close to 180 people who have been started on Trikafta countrywide. And we've achieved through various different medical aid schemes. I mean, that's a huge achievement. But we must not forget that there are probably another 180, 90 patients who should be on Trikafta who are not, because they are not on medical aid and depend on the state for treatment. And so we haven't so what is the situation? Well, the moment I can just let you know what's been done so far. So since the settlement of Sherry Nell's court case, which was earlier this year, as expected, the momentum behind the pressure to get treatment has, of course, not unexpectedly subsided a bit. But it's not, and this is where we need to, my appeal to the community is we need to shift a lot of the campaigning, the lobbying, and keep the pressure on, not take the foot off the pedal for too long, is towards getting treatment for patients who depend on public health. Now, it's the reason why it's not available is, first of all, the drug is not registered, but also to be quite we have to acknowledge the fact that our public health system, CF is an unknown condition. It's something there that, but it's not on the national health. It's not, the drugs are not on the essential medicines list, which is what our national health system, it has a list of medicines which must be provided for free for those who can't afford it. But there's a whole lot of medicines which are not on that list, especially for rare diseases, rare conditions, and also expensive medicines. And so Trikafta would fall into that category. So the way our health system works in procurement of medicines, for medicines which should be provided freely to everyone, everywhere, the National Department of Health, which is the national coordinating body, has a procurement system in place and a review process, which reviews all medicines that are considered essential. But that's quite a long cycle. It takes years to get medicines onto that list. And I'm happy to say that myself and various clinicians have already approached the National Department of Health to bring them to be aware of these medicines, and the response has been fairly positive in that they are going to consider, or will be happy to consider, an application in the next review cycle, which will only start next year in April 2025, and that's sort of the long-term goal. But we're talking now years down the line before that's assuming it even gets approved. But at least the process has been started. In the meantime, however, each province and each hospital, actually down to the hospital level, so wherever, say, Steve, and the hospitals are where CF patients are being treated. So if you look in Gauteng, it would be Steve Biko and Charlotte Matseke. In the Western Cape would be the three main university hospitals, Tygerberg, Groote Red Cross. In KZN, it will be Albert Luthuli. I guess those would be the main three. It's where almost 90% of the patients are being treated, shall we say. Each hospital facility has within their own budgetary capacity some sort of autonomy to procure medicines for their facility by special motivation. And it is up to the clinicians, the doctors who are employed at those facilities to motivate and apply. And so there's a different process. Each hospital has a committee, a review committee that looks at medicines and affordability and how much and so forth. So I think the strategy going forward would be that, and I've called a meeting now with all my colleagues relevant from all the teaching hospitals where the CF clinics are, so we can form a working team and share and help each other approach each hospital with an application process. I do believe, through my engagement with Vertex, who supplied the Trikafta, that they're very open to negotiating an even lower price than what's getting in private. but it does require someone to actually, from each health facility, to sit at the table with Vertex and reach a deal. And whether it'll be a facility, individual hospital, different deal, or it'll be a national, they agree. I don't know. We're a bit in uncharted territories because this is a medicine that's not registered. And so the advantage of that, in a way, is that it allows more flexibility in negotiating a price. Because and so that is why I feel confident that there is room to negotiate, because there's no way the public health system is going to pay the same amount as the medical aids are paying. So there have to be a lot of negotiation going on. So my appeal to everyone here is we need to put pressure. A lot of energy has been invested and pushed on Vertex, which is right, and it should continue to make sure that they provide a fair price. But we need to put pressure and turn up the heat on our government sector, our hospitals, and the people who make the decisions around these medicines. Once with this, I think some of the energy and momentum that we've and experience that we've gained through lobbying for this, both with our partners here and we've had international partners as well. We need to start focusing some of that attention on the people who decide on which medicines to buy. And so once we have all the paperwork submitted to each hospital and each facility, I think that some sort of campaigning and lobbying from the CF community on our government officials is the way to go. And I know it's a very active group. It will be quite a new challenge for our government sector. I don't think it's ever been done for anything, but I think I don't see why not, and I think it will be effective and interesting, and I think it's what we need to do going forward. So from our side as doctors, we're committed to jumping through the hoops that are required at each hospital to put the application on the table, to submit the applications and motivations. I think, and then it will be significantly strengthened if there was a lot of noise and campaigning from the CF community, from the patient organizations, to put pressure on them to make a deal with Vertex in a sense. So that's all I wanted to say. If anyone has some, we will certainly keep you up to date with it, with all the progress. And once again, thank you to Kimberly and its team and everyone for hearing me out. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Marco. There is a QR code on the slide at the moment, and I've also shared the link in case you are unable to scan at the moment because you are on your phone with the meeting. The QR code and link goes to a form, and you can sign up to join this campaign or volunteer if you have time for the committee. It comprises of everything. Instead of having multiple things to do, it is all in one. And we would love to have you add your voice to this campaign as we're building towards getting access for all state patients. Next slide. And this is the amount of patients we're looking at. It's 2/3. 2/3. It's a lot of patients. And if I can do my part, let's all do a little bit. Those that have access, an extra hour, it's little steps, one brick at a time, let's build something stronger than Rome. It's an option. So please, the link is in the chat, and we will then send out the QR code again as well for you to sign up. You can also then email if you are unable or unsure of how to go forward. I would like to welcome Rita, our patient empowerment. I'm sorry, I'm lost for words because she keeps me on my toes. Thank you so much, Rita. If you could, there you are, okay.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you very much for having me. So we can immediately jump into the slides, and I wrote a couple of notes for myself because those of you who know me, you know I talk a lot. So first of all, to those who doesn't know me, I've got a Moroccan proverb that I live by. And Matt, you can click on that. Oh, my Moroccan proverb, there you go. There's no beauty but the beauty of action. And, you know, patient empowerment is a fairly new area for Sacfa to look at from all different aspects. So, you know, in the beginning, it's like playing detective game, right? You literally put your boots to the ground. I've been traveling, I've been listening, I've been really taking a lot of voices into account to try and figure out in this game, how can we do this a little bit better, a little bit more efficient, a little stronger together? I've been part of rare diseases team a little bit longer. And one thing that they've taught me definitely is remember to look globally and nationally and within your own organization. And I think that is the biggest, best part of my job, is to always look at what's happening globally. What could we align with? How can we remember what is the initiatives globally? Can we access that? Can we insert that? Coming down to national, looking at what's happening in our own country. How do we use that? How we move with the national movements, and then always bringing it back to Sacfa and see, what does this mean? So often it means that, you know, we have to go to the conferences, we have to go to the workshops, we literally have to travel and be there face to face, because there is where we often start with our new partnerships. And then I always come back with, and Matt, just click on the next one, please. And this is where oh, there you go, there I'm trying. That is when I come back. And I always ask the question, and I would like to ask this today to you guys. So I'm going to have a little poll. Please join. How much do you feel you're a part of Sacfa? You could quickly vote, and we're going to share the results with everybody. Because in the end, I always ask myself when I drive home or I'm on a flight, why did I do this and what does this mean? Did I do something today for a patient, for a parent, basically for us? Did I do something important enough for us as a community? And then obviously, I always put on an action hat, always. And, you know, that is, I think, where the WhatsApp is significant. So we even started with the tracking document so that I could write down each time I'm phoning somebody or somebody's WhatsApping me, you know, looking at themes. And I just want to say the last 2 months there was 1,620 WhatsApps. Whether that is a personal WhatsApp between a mommy and myself, or a patient and myself, or a patient organization, or the World Patient Alliance, whether it is Vertex Save Us. The point is, if there was something CF related, I counted that WhatsApp. And I think this is really taking on a brilliant life of its own. So there we can see the results. How much do you feel part of Sacfa? 0%, 20%, 35, 15. Oh, sorry. I'm reading this incorrectly. Matt, I think I'm going to need you to help me to figure this out. Oh, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sorry, guys. So 5 out of 5 is completely part of Sacfa. Am I right? Kim? Oh, Kim's got. Anyway, and this is where, you know, I'd like to work really hard so that everybody with cystic fibrosis feels that they are part of Sacfa and that Sacfa is serving them. I'm going to end the poll for now. Share results. Okay. I'm not sure. Matt will have to help us here.
The results are on the screen. Can you see them? There should be.
Okay. I can't see the results. I can see a 30% feels that they are 5 out of 5, a part of Sacfa.
Yes, those are the results.
All right. So I would love the guys who only feels 20% to join, or that feels a number 2 to join us at 5. And that is how I, look at Sacfa and think of Sacfa. And it's all these role players, it's all these different areas that make sure that we keep on ticking and we keep on rolling in the same direction. And we have to stay on point. That is really important. And one thing I would like to see is that we increase our roundtable collaboration. And it was so interesting when Dr. Marco came to the conclusion of where is the patient organization, and coming from a different angle, listening at so many different areas. The conclusion globally is that it's time for the patient organizations to raise our voices. It's time to say, it doesn't help that you plan anything if the patient is not there. And we need to take up that role. We need to up our game, get organized, and be very precise at how we're going to do that. And then the next question that I would like to ask you guys is, would you notice if Sacfa disappears? Heinrich, is it okay if I just quickly run through this and then I'll get back to you? Is that okay with you? So would you notice if Sacfa disappears? I'm so thankful to see we've got a lot of yeses there. And I'm going to proceed while we are voting. And I'm going to ask Matt to click on the next slide. So I'm using NHI. No, you're too quick. That was too quick. But anyway, I'm going to use the example of the NHI or Trikafta. And one thing that I've asked myself is, why is Sacfa different, or how is Sacfa different to other organizations? And it all boils back down to, where are you registered and how are you registered? Because remember, one channel needs to be able to talk to the different, to a channel, okay? And that is the little brain. So Sacfa is registered with the Department of Social Development. So we're an NGO. We are government, not regulated, but we are, the government knows we are there. And we are actually the only organization that has the national mandate to bargain and to come forward and to raise our voice. And that's what I'm meaning with the little brain, with all the suggestions and the solutions. So it doesn't help that we an organization with a lot of solutions and a lot of brain power. But when I get to the bridge, there is no bridge because I'm not in the right position nationally. And this is where Sacfa is different, because nationally, because of our registration that's correct, we have that bridge to talk to government. We have that voice to insert there legally. And that, it brings me back to our brain that says, let's insert everybody through the right channels so that we hear everybody's voice, their ideas, how they want to do this, so that we can march together and utilize the bridge better. And for now, immediately, it's going to be the Trikafta. But within a couple of years, we are going to have the NHI discussion. So I just want to implore everybody to help us. You see, that brain, the speed of the brain depends on how many brains we have. And only if we have a lot of volunteers and a lot of organizations that's willing to work with us. And remember, unfortunately, there are a couple of things that we can do and can't do, and figuring out the legalities together. But if we have a lot of brains together, then this brain can climb quicker, more organized, and get results quicker. But if we are not willing to raise our own hands and say, I'm willing to join the brain squad, then it's going to go slower. And we run the risk of really missing the bridge, not getting there on time. And there are evenings that I just don't sleep very well because I do get worried about our patients. So I'm very thankful to see that 26 out of 26 people that voted tonight felt that they would notice when Sacfa is not there. So one of the things that we concluded as a team is that maybe we should raise a whole new legion of clinic guardians. And that means that we get more organized. And by this, I would just like to introduce Anna-Marie. She was our pilot study. She raised her hand for Steve Biko. And it was amazing to see what came forward, because Anna-Marie understands Steve Biko. She's invested in Steve Biko. So her inputs made sense because she understood Steve Biko and she understood the healthcare practitioner that's in Steve Biko. And because of the success and the contributions that Anna-Marie brought to the table, this grew. Pause. Kimberly says I must pause. I'm pausing. The question from Heinken. Thank you, Kimberly. Heinken?
My brain had 'n bietjie vergeet. So sorry. I can't forget what I wanted to ask.
Type in the comments immediately before you forget. Okay, if you remember, just insert it in the comments.
I will.
Brilliant. Thank you. Okay, so I am going to hand over to my brilliant colleague, Anna-Marie. Thanks, guys.
Hello, everyone. Everybody introduced me so well. It's almost not even necessary for me to introduce myself at this stage. I would first of all like to thank Sacfa for reaching out to the state hospitals. this is very, very close to my heart. And for those of you who know me, actually knows that I am really shy. So if I do get stage fright, I want to apologize in advance for this. I had this whole thing prepared and decided I'm just rather going to do this from my heart, because this is where Sacfa is coming, or we see it is coming from. It's from our hearts. I mean, why are we starting this? Why do we want to get the patients and their parents involved? Thank you for the next slide. Yesterday, I went to the sure. It's a tongue twister, this one. I'm the endocrinologist. There we go. So it is time for my boys to start testing for being diabetic or not. And yeah, we knew that they were borderline and everything. And my oldest son got a little bit tired and he had a little less energy and everything. So yesterday we went to the doctors for that for the first time. And then thanks to Sacfa and to Rita for helping us with the tools to be able to see what the things look like. I was able to help the doctors make a decision, and I was able to help them to see that the reason why Yandra is not doing so well at the moment might be because he is really, his sugar is not doing what it should. So she went out with my phone and all the documents that I had, and she came back and she said to Yandra, listen, I think unfortunately we have to start you on short working insulin as well. Now, just a little, I'm trying to make a whole big story short. So Yandra was sitting there, and I could see his whole mood thing, and he was like, I remember his words when he went to the hospital last year. He said to me, Mom, every time I go to the hospital, they find something wrong. And the only thing that I could say to my son was, I'm sorry. Right next to him was his younger brother sitting there, and nothing changed with his insulin. And Monet immediately said to me, Mom, I feel so bad. Something happens to Yandre, I feel so guilty. And there I'm sitting in this situation. I've got 2 kids with CF, and I have to comfort them both. Yeah, I don't think I have to explain the difficulty of the situation. The why. We sit and we have to face these problems alone. And yeah, sometimes our parents, the clinic parents, the CF warriors, feel that when are we going to get help? When is TriCafta going to be available for the rest of us? When can we also get to be healthy? When can we also get to, be lifted, be happy, be healthy? So we come to the solution of the problems, and I know that Sacfa is trying and doing their best, and the doctors are all doing their best. But, a big but, they can only do what they can do. They have all the knowledge that they need They know what goes on in a human body. They know how CF works. They know what medicine we need. But they do not know how we are going to win Trikafta. I've got my tea lady today, guys. They know that they don't know. They are trying to figure out ways for us to get medication. What the doctors in Sacfa, yes, they do know, because our very own chairperson and Rita, they are CF themselves. So yes, they go through all of this with us. But if I look at statistics, our last statistics of numbers with cystic fibrosis, we were, I think it was 2022, we were 523 people registered with CF at that stage. And if 2/3 of them are state patients, then at least 300 patients are state patients, and they do not have access to Trikafta. They all feel alone. They all feel depressed because, I mean, let's be honest, does the state really worry about us? So Sacfa tried to create this thing for us parents, our clinic parents, so that we can have the opportunity to combine and to get into a group of people, to get into a force, to be able to raise our voices. We need to be able to connect to each other and have a bridge to be able to speak to Trikafta. What do we need? What do we want? How can they help us? Sacfa and the doctors can only do so much. They can only help us if we are prepared to step up and help them. So we are trying to create this clinic guardian setup where we can get all the parents together, and so that we can communicate our needs to Sacfa. So a very big thank you to Sacfa for sending us, or for reaching out to all the state patients. I am only one clinic parent that stepped up. I've got a little graphic here about how this is going to work, just so to really explain to people and give them all a visual about how this is going to work. We've got all our clinic parents. They are not only parents, I mean, the adult warriors can also just join the groups. So we are trying to create WhatsApp groups for the clinics. We would like to create one for every clinic, so that the clinic parents can communicate, and the clinic can communicate back to the parents what they need. For instance, next week we have a CF day at Steve Bicker, and there might have been a message that I would have liked to give to all the parents, but they are not all going to the clinic, because some of them are going to just quickly pop in and get their meds for the month. I would have liked to put a message in the group and say, okay, people, there is a little message we need to give to you. Just please pop into the clinic for 5 minutes of your time before you go home for Christmas. It would have been nice to communicate with the people. So that is why that is there, to communicate clinic wants and needs from the clinic, from the people, from the root of CF patients and their parents to the guardians, and then from the guardians back to the patients as well. We will have guardians. We want to please ask people to just step up. We need one person per clinic to be in charge of that WhatsApp group. That will be the person that will also communicate all the wants and needs from the clinic parents as well as from the doctors. Another thing that happens is that so many new patients get diagnosed and Sacfa doesn't know. So we would like to, not only from the parents, the clinic guardian also needs to communicate to the doctors. Is there anything that they need from the clinics? Do they need nebulizers? Do they need medical equipment? Is there anything specific that we could help them with? So the clinic guardian is going to be the communication between Sacfa and the clinic itself. So we are really trying to bring this up from the ground and to get the CF patients and their parents, the clinic parents, to be able to raise their voices. And like Dr. Zampoli and Rita already said, that we would really, really like to have a stronger voice, to be able to explain to Vertex that we really need Trikafta. If this only comes from the doctor's voices and Sacfa saying, we have patients that we need Trikafta, yeah, it's all good and well. But if it comes straight from the people that really needs it, maybe then they will see it. It's about, I keep saying creating a voice. It's about awareness. It's about becoming one. It's about showing the world that we might be a rare disease, but we are really not that small. We have big hearts. We have big lives. We actually have lives. We want to live long. We have the opportunity. We have the means. We have the power, and we have the brains to do this. People with cystic fibrosis has just as much right to be just as much as the next person that is healthy. And we've got to fight, but we've got to do it together. We cannot do it on our own. We need to help the doctors, and we need to help Sacfa to help us. We cannot sit back and expect them to just give and to just help us. We've got to stand up and raise our voices. We've got to communicate with each other, and we've got to become one large voice, so hard that the whole world hears us, not only South Africa. We need to show South Africa who we are, what we stand for, and that we have the right, human rights. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Anna. On the screen at the moment is the responsibilities of a clinic guardian. These are evolving. As I've said before, it's how I work. Nothing is set in stone. I work with my team to create the responsibilities and roles that function well for each other. I'm not going to go through each of them. Main aspect is parents from each clinic have their one clinic guardian that they can then take their concerns to. So it's someone they can see at a clinic visit. For state clinics, I know they have everyone on a certain day. And parents, I've heard a few, I know my mom did it back in the day, they talk to each other. And that's what we mean by a clinic guardian. It's somebody that will be in the clinic on clinic day when their child is up for that clinic appointment. talking and connecting with the other parents, letting them know about Sacfa, and finding out if there's anything they need, and if they have an idea, if it's not just about the bad, but also about the good. As in, they've come up with this great idea that they think other patients could benefit from, whether it be a medication, what do you call those, Monday to Friday packaging things, taking, being on time with homework and managing, nebulizing, those ideas we can then start sharing with the community. That clinic guardian can then funnel that knowledge through to the rest of the country instead of just keeping it within that clinic. We can spread it out. The next slide, please. So as you can see, we have given quite a lot of thought to this role, and we have also decided that there should be a main clinic guardian that will then be part of the committee. Therefore, we continuously have that connection from each of the clinics going to one person and then into the committee, therefore spreading the load. Thank you, Anna-Marie, for speaking and for sharing the beautiful pictures of your family. And it just reiterates, it's the patients and the families that we do this for. I'd like Rita to talk us through the World Patient Alliance, please.
Okay, so I went to the conference in November of the World Patient Alliance. And one of the sessions we were in, they raised actually very concerning numbers about patient safety. And 134 million adverse effects are reported per year. 3 million deaths occur due to unsafe care practices. And that's when the World Patient Alliance started with the Patient Safety League books. And they address critical themes like washing your hand, going to the doctor, or sharing medication. And they're the beautiful, beautiful books for children, written and geteken. I don't know what that is in English right now. I'm not sure, Matt, did we get the front page of the books? I'm not sure if we managed to do that.
Rita, we did.
You go.
Yes.
There they are. They are beautifully written, and it's all about doctor safety, coming to have a chat to the children when they almost ready to make devastating decisions. So I just want to hop back to the previous slide. And Liz stood on the stage and she said, I just wish we could narrate these books because, reading is a problem worldwide, but how wonderful would that be if we could send a voice out to the global community? And I just instinctively knew South Africa will make it happen. So afterwards, I had a chat to Liz. I said to her, Liz, don't worry. Sacfa will do that for you. And I am so thankful that Kevin, Tara, and David volunteered their time to narrate these books. They are professional voiceover artists. Kevin Abbott is running point with this project. And I just want to say from us as a community, Sacfa, you tonight here, we are preparing this gift. I've even obtained through a different contact the ability to load it on Spotify. So very, very soon, this whole project will be completed and we will hand it over. Sacfa, to the World Patient Alliance, so that we agree patient safety should be prioritized and it's important information. So if you click on this link. Oh, I think Matt must click on the link. The Elsevier Foundation. Listen to this.
You're listening to I Won't Wash My Hands Today. This is Lucas. He just woke up after a great night of sleep. Good morning, Lucas. Be like Lucas and teach someone how to wash their hands today. Let's do it. You've been listening to I Won't Wash My Hands Today by the Elsevier Foundation and the World Patients Alliance, with the voice talents of Kevin Abbott, Tara McPherson, and David Wilk. And a big thank you to the South African Cystic Fibrosis Association for making it possible.
Thank you so much. So we are still in the last phases of getting this project done. It will be loaded up to Spotify. And if you click on the link, it takes you to the books, and anybody and everybody is, asked to download it. The only little asterisk to this, please don't change the content and please don't sell the books. So download the books, read it with your children. The moment that Kevin and his team is finished with the narration, it will be communicated as well. And then I just want to extend an invite to all of you to the ceremony. So if you get the notifications on the WhatsApp groups that you are invited to the ceremony, please join us. It's a global initiative. And a wish that we are still working on with Liz is to translate this books into as many languages as possible. So I raised my hand and said, I will do it in Afrikaans. If anybody wants to join me in the Afrikaans translation, please let me know so that we can translate the books. And obviously, if we can have the African languages as well, if you know of somebody, or if you are willing to translate these books into the African language, also let me know. And everything is sorted and set. It's going to be distributed fairly easy. So thank you very much to our community that just helped me to realize a dream for Liz. There we are at the World Patient Conference Alliance. Oh, that's right. Kim asked me to talk about the IPASA Business and Ethics Day in Johannesburg. It was very interesting. Often at all these conferences, I raised my voice and I said, I'm a bit concerned because we keep on talking about, taking care of the patient. But in the end, Rand and Cents does speak louder than anything else. And I've always encouraged the greater community to think in terms of the World Trade Organization and think in terms of pharmacies and how do we get together and how do we, start collaborating and really get down to the important thing. And the important thing is patients, right? And IPASA actually asked us to join their initiative. And we are going to endeavor to write a consensus framework. We are going to look at all the stakeholders possible in taking care of the patient. And how would that look like ethically? And how would that look like for South Africa? We would only be the third country in Africa to look into this endeavor, but I feel this is a very strategic move because once again, that has the possibility, and we've seen it in other countries, how when there is a consensus framework, that governments follow suit and join these consensus frameworks, and also then pharmaceuticals realize that they need to align with a framework like this. So we're endeavoring in 2025 to start writing that consensus framework. I think that was all from me. Thanks, Kim.
Thank you, Rita. A quick one, I'd like to introduce you to our team. Next slide, please. So as you can see, we have Rita, myself, Heike, Jolene, our social media and brand manager. We can thank Jolene that we now have a Sacfa brand, and that brand is getting, I'd like to say, like, expanded through to different sectors. Next slide, please. We have Alan on fundraising, as he is setting up the Cape Town cycle tour and came up with the great idea of going from our Joburg cycle race to our Cape Town cycle tour, as there have been a lot of interest in that. And our newest member, Anna Marie. And we would like to see your face here and your name. Next slide, please. There is an open position, a role that is open. Please, a secretary. Just a few points of what the duties are. If I'm not mistaken, it's missing one other point, and that I think is just making sure that the agenda items are followed through, like the minutes of the meeting. But yeah, I'm talking too much now. So the role for the secretary, it's just the admin side of things, and doesn't require daily activity. We're hoping at least 4 hours a week, so it's not a intense thing. And then if there is a meeting coming up or that has just happened, the minutes might take a bit longer to process. Next roll. Okay. On the form that we've brought out earlier, the QR code and the link was a question about joining the committee. You can use that form to add your name to the committee, or add it as a volunteer, or you can email us. Any questions, comments regarding the agenda? I'm just going to go through if there were. Cindy mentioned a CF conference in SA. I think maybe, Cindy, if you would like to assist in organizing one. We are still in discussions. I don't think it will be in the next year. I think the doctors, their main focus, and our main focus is getting access to treatment for state patients. So a lot of our energy is going to be on that this coming year. Leila, is the Clinic Guardian just for state clinics, or will it be implemented in private sector too? This is actually a very good suggestion. The Clinic Guardian, we've mainly focused on state again to gain access, to be that point person to facilitate that information, to get patients and parents involved in signing petitions, signing the letter that will be going out to the management of the hospital. So that type of information as well. It would be interesting to see how we could integrate that into a private sector. Next one. Any questions, comments, please raise your hand. Cindy, the CF conference was previously tacked onto a lung conference, if I remember correctly, and there was a day focused on updating the CF patients on the latest developments. Okay, that's very interesting. I will look into that, Cindy. That's actually very interesting to hear. I'll look into it some more, and maybe actually get hold of the Pulmonology Association, but I think it might have now joined with the cardiothoracic. I'll talk to the doctors on that. Thank you everyone for joining. If there are any questions, you can definitely email me, info@sacfa.org.za. You can WhatsApp me. Phoning, I'm not always sure I'll answer. I'm much better at WhatsApp. I do work full time, so it is a bit difficult picking up the phone sometimes. And thank you to my team and to the members on the committee. Thank you so much. And to the parents and the patients, oh, there's more questions. Okay, hold on. Where can we find the 2022 CF information? The registry for the 2022 is on the website. So it's sacfa.org.za, and on the homepage, I'm sure it might be two. There is a link there to it. And Leila, yes, please volunteer for the watchdog duty and to assist as a support team. And thank you, everyone. Apparently, it's only 2021.
I'll send it.
Okay, then I better say, okay, I can email you the 2022 and I'll send a link on the social as well. I can circulate it again. And then next year, as soon as 2023 is out, I'll get it emailed, WhatsApp, social, and as far as wide as I can. That's okay. I think that's it for the evening. If there are any other questions, you can contact me. And thank you to our doctors, and thank you for everyone for joining.